I am taking a QuickTime screen recording of some of the images that were received by Julia Taylor Photography that she took on January 20th, 2023 of Nathan Starkenberg and Caitlin Starkenberg's wedding. This recording is for the sole purpose to discuss the quality of the images received by Julia Taylor. So I'm just going to get right to it and open up Photoshop. I have just opened up the first several images out of the first folder that were downloaded by Julia Taylor. These are how she delivered the images. And looking at this, you can see this is zoomed in at 100%. This is how this image would print. And you can immediately tell there's something not right with Nathan's face. It looks warped, almost like a Picasso painting here. Before I get into the details of this, I would also like to point out other things that I'm seeing that aren't quite right here, which is a lot of grain. You can see it in the tie, his face, the flowers. Caitlin has some catchlight in her eyes, but Nathan's eyes don't reflect the same, and it should. The image is not clear. It looks like the focus fell here on the cake, on the outer edges of the cake, and you can also see that the color profile of the flowers is also not accurate. And just to point out what the flowers should look like, here are the actual colors of the flowers. And that's not what you're seeing here. You're seeing more orangey, pale, washed out. I'm not sure what happened there, but let's zoom in a little closer. And you're seeing all of this grain, dead pixels in Caitlin's eyes. You're seeing a lot of dead pixels variously throughout the photo. Lots of grain here, but most importantly, it looks like there was a face swap maybe done here. I don't know what this hard edge is here, but this definitely does not scream professional quality. This is done in very poor taste. I am very upset to have received the images like this, and as a professional photographer myself, I would never deliver this to a client. And to be honest, we have had tears over these photos, and we've gone from being very sad to angry to being calm and trying to make the best of this situation. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next photo. This was a photo taken outside. You can tell it's very flat. It's washed out. There's no detail. There's no contrast. Nathan's head kind of blends in with the background. The background's blown out. And this tells me that it's not a professional quality. It wasn't shot in a professional manner. And I'm going to point that out by looking at the metadata here. And apparently you don't seem to be familiar with the f16 rule or the sunny 16 rule, which is when you're shooting in bright outdoor light, you want to set your f-stop to 16, not 2.8. You are accurate in bringing your ISO down to 100, but then this should also match. This should be 1/100th of a second to match your ISO, and your f-stop should be at 16, and this would have been an almost perfect image. Every single one of your outdoor photos are like this. Definitely does not reflect professionalism. The sunny f16 rule is something that every photographer learns in basic photography 101. So this tells me that you're not aware of this, which again does not reflect professionalism. I've noticed in a lot of the photos, you completely miss the focus here. This would have been such a cute shot, again, if you had shot with a f16 rule, but let's zoom in on Nathan's face. You completely missed focus here. If we were to 100%, you can see down here, if we were to print this, this is terrible. Adorable look on his face, but it's blurry and not acceptable to deliver to your clients as a professional image. Moving on to the next photo, again, everything is just washed out. It's so blown out. Part of Nathan's face looks like it's missing. We can't recover that. This is not acceptable. Let's look at the metadata here too. again, this, you went up instead of down here. This should match. This should be 1/100th of a second, f16 and 100. And you wouldn't have had this blown out sky. Moving to an indoor image, again, completely missed focus. Where did the focus land? Here. It landed right here and in her hair. Again, lots of grain. You've got chromatic aberration here. Lots of chromatic aberration in almost every single image that you've taken. You can see it here on Nathan's shoulder, and it's not in focus. This should have been your focus right here, not here. And just to point out, if you're not familiar with what chromatic aberration is, I did close-up. I did open this up in camera raw, just so we can take a look. And basic Photoshop editing, if you are aware this is here, and I don't know how you couldn't see this because every picture in Nathan's head is glowing green, this needs to be removed. And yes, it's time-consuming and tedious, but it's a simple task. And every single picture, Nathan's head is glowing like this. Again, does not reflect professionalism. And we need to come to a conclusion to resolve the issue at hand here.